cyanide tracers, do they go house to house? I mean,
Yes.
there are a lot of houses in Douglas.
Well, they care about in Cape Cod, they care about their beach season and their fishing season, and it brings a lot of money. Their economy is based on tourism, so they're like, in the Philippines, I did a study on cyanide fishing for the capture of marine fish, and they were using it everywhere. But I went to Palawan, and I noticed that they weren't using it, because all the resort owners got together and they hired patrol boats with their own money. Palawan was gorgeous, no nutrients, no nitrogen and phosphorus, no algae smothering the corals. It was gorgeous. And I said, how are you guys doing it? Why isn't the rest of the Philippines doing it? So they took us armed patrol boats with machine guns. The bombers and the cyaniders were shot. They took the reef and their economics in their own hands, and any cyaniders or dynamiters that came into their reef, they were shot.
That'll work.
And guess what? They have the highest tourism in all of Philippines. They're taking their reef and managing their reef into their own hands, because the government wasn't doing it, and the bombers are scared to death, and cyaniders are scared to death to go to Palawan and cyanide fish. So, I can't say we're going to do that here, but I did like the method, because I saw beautiful corals and I saw ecosystems doing quite well.
The University of Massachusetts is pretty tight about working with the state to monitor every single harbor on the Cape. I've seen them, I've been there. Watching with their tents at night, testing the borders and the mud and everything, from Cutty Hunt to Exit Dam.
What was the question? I'm sorry.
Well, they seem to run the biological monitoring of the harbors, every major one of them that would be, I don't know, a tourist harbor, or even not a non-tourist harbor, very closely.
Yeah.
I don't see that down here to the same.
No, it's amazing. I live here. I live 3 weeks in New York, in College Point, Queens, and 1 week I'm up in Woods Hole, where I have a house. My wife and I have a house, because I work at the Oceanographic. I have my graduate students there. And Sipawis at Saltmarsh, I got to tell you, there's a lot of things that Massachusetts does wrong, but in terms of, because they realize that beach they make money. They make money, tourism, people come to Cape Cod. The Hamptons is starting to get it, a little bit, but not like the Cape is. I mean,
3 Mile Harbor, they get it out.
Yeah. I'm starting to see some really cool stuff happening. But DEC Suffolk is really, I gotta commend them. DEC Suffolk County on dealing with the polluters, the things that we can control. We can't control climate change here. DEC can't do anything about it. But in terms of enforcement, I got to take my hat off to those folks, and I mean DEC in the last 5 to 6 years, not pre. What's going on with DEC now? They are taking a pit bull effect, and I love them for it, man. What they're doing, the enforcement cases, and I heard that they just cut the budget of DEC and enforcement. So I'm like, go figure. I mean,
What
yes.
else? Why don't we try and make money here on our coastal ways?
I'm sorry.
Why don't we try and make money here on our coastal ways?
On the coastal?
Yeah, along the coastal waterways, and try to get people out there kayaking, try to make it into a lucrative industry. And
Well, up in Prince William Sound, the orcas, the animals bring the bucks. They have a great program here. That's why the grant that I gave to PS 129. Hopefully, I can get the students out here. You got to get them young. I think I like nature because my grandfather was a wildlife photographer. He took pictures of nice things, and when I was a kid, I saw it.
So with the exception of toting shotguns, what could we be doing as citizenry that would help monitor and reverse some of these trends?
Actually, if you see pollution happening and you see developers that are not taking care of the coast and you see sediment plumes going to water, call DEC.
We also have Friends of the Bay here.
Friends of the Bay. Enforcement and dropping a dime works. Developers are kind of scared, because I represent a lot of developers that have broken the law, and they'll call me to help fix their problems. And I noticed that they're scared to death, and that the word is getting out, which is really good. You know, so, I mean, what can we do? We can lower our carbon footprint. Another question to ask the old timers. I know my grandfather didn't use a lot. My grandfather didn't, you know, spend a lot and buy a lot and eat a lot, and like we just do everything a lot. And what I try to do in my life is just not use what I use a lot. You know, that's what I try to do. I have a hybrid. The truck I bought was a 4-cylinder instead of a 4x4. I get 30 miles to the gallon for my work truck. I mean, I try to recycle more, try to lower your carbon footprint and teach others. You know, I think I was talking to someone about this the other day. You know, I remember there were a couple of blocks in the South Bronx that were really bad. What was it? East Harlem? No. Well, there were two. Oh, it was in Bed-Stuy. There were one block where the brownstones were kept great, and Louis Farrakhan and his group came in there and they kept the drug dealers out. And it started with one house. They swept, they painted, and they cleaned that one house. Now another family came in and said, I think I want to live next door to that one. And then they cleaned their house and took care of it. And eventually it turned into a block of being nice, and flowers out on the pots, and you know, sweeping. Like I remember my father sweeping up the gutters for cigarette butts. If every